So we're going to do the additional information needed part. So sometimes we'll ask you this question kind of differently and say, okay, look at these two triangles. What else would you have to know to prove that they're congruent by a certain theorem? So like in this triangle, we want to know, what do we have to know to prove it's congruent by angle, side, angle?
It needs another angle.
Yeah, it needs another angle. And where does it need it?
T and Q.
At T and Q. So you would say angle T is congruent to angle Q.
I've never been to anything like I don't know why you gave it to me though. Because I didn't have my backpack. You were like, save it for geometry. Are we supposed to give assessment to you?
Oh, you can keep them. And for number 5, what additional information is needed to prove these are congruent by hypotenuse leg?
Wait, can you go up once?
Yep. Additional information needed. Yep, on your yellow page.
Alright.
All right, so on this one, we want to prove it congruent by hypotenuse leg. We have the right angle, check, check. We have the hypotenuse, here and here. So what are we missing? A leg. So it doesn't matter which leg we pick. I'm just going to pick this one and this one. I could have picked this one and this one, but I just decided to.
Wait, it doesn't have to be the same one.
I could have picked these two.
Okay.
But I'm just going to go with these two. And say if we knew that AC is congruent to CE, then we can prove it by hypotenuse legs. We already have the hypotenuse, and then we would have the additional leg.
Why isn't the one that's already marked the leg? Why can't that be the leg?
Good question. So the reason why it's the hypotenuse is because it's the one that's directly across from the right angle.
Ah.
It's also the longest side.
Yes, and it's also the longest side.
Okay. So it could be any?
Yeah, so the hypotenuse is always the one straight across from the right angle. It's also the longest side in the triangle. And then the leg, it doesn't matter which leg you mark congruent. That one, this one, doesn't matter. You just need one set of congruent legs, one leg per triangle.
Why don't you have to write all 3 of the letters?
Oh, good question. So this is just me adding what's new. So instead of writing a congruency statement, I was just saying what we need to add is at this segment AC. So this right here talks about a segment. So that's referencing this segment AC would need to be congruent to this segment CE, which is right here. So I'm just naming the sides that I marked congruent.
So it could be B, D, wait, it could be B, C, and C, D? Okay.
Yeah. Good questions. Other questions? All right, last one. So on this one, we want to prove them by side angle side. We already have the side right here by reflexive property. We've already got our angles. So we need an additional what? We need an additional side. Where should it go? Can I put it down here?
That would be above the angle?
Right, it has to be right beside the angle. So it has to be these two. Because only when it's these two are the angles right in between my sides. So side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. So we would need to add that AB would be congruent to AD.
How do you know, like, where to go? Because you could do, like, SSA. How do you know, like, what order to put it in?
Like whether to pick this side or this side?
No, like, it's SAS, but, like...
Oh, like how to write the word.
Yeah.
Okay, good question. So the reason why this one's written this way is because the A being between the S's represents that my angle right here at the top is in between my sides. So like if I'm going to draw you a different triangle. So like in this triangle right here, if I wanted to draw it side, the angle has to be in the middle. So if I draw the angle right here, the sides have to be this one and this one, because those are the only sides touching that angle. So it has to be side, the angle, and the side, because if I draw a line across my angle, I'm touching both of my sides.
Okay.
So we write side, angle, side to show that the angle is touching both of our sides.
Alright.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, question.
AD, sorry, AB, so like,
Uh-huh.
how do you know when you're supposed to write it like that and not write it in like a
Okay, good question. So the question was, how do we know that we're not writing it like this, right here, right?
yeah.
So we wrote it like here because we were asked to write a congruency statement for the triangles. A triangle congruency statement. So that's what these are. These are triangle congruency statements. Versus down here, it just says what additional information is needed. So the additional information that we need is that we need to add a side to it. And so that's why we name segments.